Hi, this is Luna. Today I'm afraid I have some bad news. At the time of this recording, armed conflict has broken out between Cambodia and Thailand. For many of you in the West, this has come as a surprise. But here in Southeast Asia, we have all been watching the situation unfold for months now. Usually, I try to focus on Vietnam with this channel, but I know from the comments and messages I have been receiving that a lot of you around the world are worried and confused. And so I am going to try to deliver the facts to you as objectively as possible. It is a complicated situation and things are developing rapidly. So consider this a general overview of the facts as I understand them. Before we begin, I want to make one thing very clear. I do not support this conflict, and I do not think the workers of Cambodia or Thailand stand to gain anything from war. I hope that this will be resolved quickly through diplomacy, and to me, it makes no sense to try to pick a side here. Peace is the only outcome that would benefit the working class of Southeast Asia. With that being said, let's get to the bottom of what's going on between Cambodia and Thailand. We should start by examining the modern history of both countries and the territory dispute which has led to this current conflict. If you know anything at all about the modern history of Southeast Asia, you know that many of our modern problems stem directly from European colonialism. This situation is no different. Our story begins in the feudal era during this time. Thailand's royal family ruled over the land of Cambodia as a territory of its empire. It's important to understand that this was a feudal relationship. Cambodia had its own royal family, and the king of Cambodia basically had fealty to the Thai king. So Thailand considered Cambodia to be one of its imperial territories, but Cambodia was still considered a sovereign nation with its own royal family. It was a feudal claim, not a colonial claim. In 1858, French colonialists attacked and occupied Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. France established a colony encompassing these three nations and called it Indochina. In the following decades, the French enslaved the peoples of our nations and turned our entire peninsula into a big plantation. Through brutal violence, the French exploited the so-called Indochina, extracting wealth and resources from our land to enrich themselves. When France colonized Cambodia, it caused conflict between France and Thailand. This is because Thailand considered Cambodia to be feudal territory and France claimed Cambodia as colony. But Thailand had to be careful because there was always a threat that France or some other European power would go in and try to colonize Thailand. The Thai royal family avoided colonization by developing strong interpersonal and financial connections to Europe through the royal family and feudal lords. Thai nobles and royal family members were sent to Europe to study in the goal of building up the reputation of Thailand as the peer of Europe, in the hopes that they could avoid becoming a target of European colonization. They basically allowed France to maintain its colonial power over Cambodia as part of this arrangement. In 1867, Thailand officially signed an agreement with France. In this agreement, Thailand gave up any right to rule over Cambodia. In return, France recognized that Thailand could keep control over the two provinces of Battambang and Siem Reap in Cambodia. This deal lasted for another 50 years until 1906, when Thailand and France signed another agreement. This agreement stated that Thailand would give back the control of Battambang and Siem Reap to Cambodia. And remember, France was still colonizing Indochina. So what this really meant was that France took possessions of these territories as part of its colony. This was part of a larger effort of France to redraw the border lines between Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and China. They used a very dirty colonial tactic which was used all over the world in the 20th century. They intentionally broke up and redrew borders in a way that would destabilize the region. So, some territories that historically belonged to one country for centuries would suddenly become the territory of another country. And of course, this was all done without the consent of the people of the colonized nations. The whole point of this strategy is to keep the peoples of colonized nations divided and in conflict, which benefits the colonizing power. The same strategy was used to destabilize many other regions and nations, and colonialist France was not the only country that did this. They actually learned this strategy from colonialist England. England did the exact same thing to India and Pakistan. They also destabilized the Middle East with the same strategy of drawing up artificial borders to fan the flames of conflict and dispute, which is a huge reason that region is so unstable today. In Vietnam, we call the worldwide instability which has resulted from these artificially drawn borders the legacy of colonialism. The next big event you should know about happened in 1941, when fascist Japan came to Indochina to occupy this area alongside colonialist France. Thailand used the same strategy which they used with France in Europe, appeasement with the oppressive invaders to preserve the status of the ruling monarchy. In this agreement, Japan agreed to help Thailand take back their old territories, including Cambodia and Laos, from the hands of colonialist France. In return, Thailand would help Japan fight against the Allied powers. But too bad for Thailand's gamble on fascism, Japan lost World War II. This defeat made Thailand's ruling family very worried. Many war crimes and atrocities were committed in Thailand, including the infamous construction of the Siam-Burma Railway. The Japanese used enslaved prisoners of war, including American prisoners, to build this railway. 90,000 enslaved Southeast Asians died building this railway, and 12,000 Allied soldiers who died. This atrocity was famously the subject for the American movie Bridge Over the River Kwai. It is very important to understand that all of these atrocities occurred with the consent of the Thai royal family. So naturally, the ruling class of Thailand was very afraid that they would be punished by the Allied nations in the aftermath of World War II. They needed to find protection, so they went to France and made another pact. This time, they offered to hand over their old territories in Cambodia to France, including the Preah Vihear province of Cambodia. Remember this name, Preah Vihear. This territory will become the main issue between the two countries in the current conflict. Anyway, in this agreement with colonialist France, Thailand agreed to hand over Preah Vihear to French colonial territory of Cambodia. France fought like hell to maintain its colonial holdings, including Preah Vihear, but they were defeated in 1953 and Cambodia became a sovereign nation once again. For the first time in centuries, Cambodia was an independent nation under the rule of its own royal family without any feudal or colonial power ruling over them. What do you need to know is that in 1962, the International Court of Justice of the United Nations in the Netherlands announced a verdict claiming that a complex of temples in Preah Vihear province belonged to Cambodia. But we need to know this. This verdict was intentionally made unclear by the International Court. Even though it might seem to favor Cambodia by giving the ownership of the temples to Cambodia, it did not say anything clearly about the land around that temple. And in fact, the side of the temple complex which faces Cambodia is actually a steep mountain cliff. So it's nearly impossible for Cambodia to access this temple from their side. Meanwhile, Thailand has an easier way to access the temple complex from their side. Of course, Thailand did not agree with this verdict. But under international pressure, they gave the temple complex back to Cambodia. But they never withdrew their military from the surrounding area. In response, Cambodia also sent their military there to protect the temples. This is why ever since 1962, the area surrounding the temple complex has been an area of military tension, with both Cambodia and Thailand having a heavy military presence along that section of the border. You probably have a lot of questions about how this situation led to the rise of the Khmer Rouge and Pol Pot, but that goes way beyond the scope of this video, and that period of time did not change much about the border dispute between Thailand and Cambodia and Preah Vihear. So if you want to learn more about the rise and fall of Pol Pot, you can watch another video I have on that subject. There's a link in the description. Long story short, Cambodia was freed from Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge in 1989. He was ousted by Vietnamese and Cambodian communists. Fast forward again to 2008, when a serious conflict between Thailand and Cambodia around the Preah Vihear temple complex broke out. Cambodia at that time asked the United Nations to recognize Preah Vihear temples as a World Heritage Site. Thailand was angry because Cambodia did this without their consent, and this caused mass protests in Thailand against Cambodia. And this led to a military conflict between the two countries. In 2009, after many peace talk attempts, the two countries claimed that the situation was under control and they both withdrew their forces back from this area. But the issue has remained and left simmering right up until this time, 16 years later. So, now you know the history of the territory dispute. Now we need to discuss the powerful families that control Cambodia and Thailand. You see, Cambodia and Thailand are both bourgeois states which are ruled over by powerful families. This is how power tends to function in capitalist nations in Asia. A small number of powerful families have control over the political economy through financial wealth and political power. In Thailand, the most powerful family is the royal family. But the king spends most of his time partying in Europe with his 20 concubines, so he doesn't really care much about administering the state from day to day. Behind the throne, Thailand has two major centers of power. One powerful faction is the military, and the second powerful faction is the Shinawatra political dynasty. This is a family of wealthy capitalists who use their wealth to buy power in the Thai government. The power was first consolidated over the government in 2001 when the patriarch of the family, Thaksin Shinawatra, became the Prime Minister of Thailand. During this first term, despite many economic achievements, Thaksin was accused of corruption and tax evasion and was called to resign. In September 2006, Thaksin visited the USA. While he was out of the country, the military of Thailand had a coup d'etat against Thaksin's regime. Thaksin then had to live outside of Thailand for 15 years, but he remained a billionaire capitalist, one of the 50 richest people of Thailand. The political power of the Shinawatra family continued when Thaksin's youngest sister, Yingluck Shinawatra, started a political party called Pheu Thai and was elected as the Prime Minister of Thailand in 2011. In 2014, she was accused of causing huge losses to the national budget because of failed agricultural policies. Once again, the military had a coup d'etat against her family, and since then, the faction that actually holds the power of Thailand is the military. Now, remember Thaksin Shinawatra, the patriarch of the Shinawatra family who had to flee the country because of the first military coup? Well, a couple of years ago, in 2023, he came back to Thailand after 15 years of exile. This time, the Shinawatra family and their Pheu Thai party hoped to take back their power from the military, so they made an alliance with a few other Thai political parties. This time, Pathongthorn Shinawatra, the youngest daughter of Thaksin, was chosen to be the face of this new alliance. Even though Pathongthorn Shinawatra's party did not win the election in 2023, her alliance of parties still formed their own government and managed to elect one of her associates, Preah Vihear, to become the Prime Minister. Very shortly after that, Prime Minister Vihear was voted out of power, and the National Congress of Thailand selected Pathongthorn Shinawatra to become the Prime Minister when she was only 37. This power swap made Pathongthorn Shinawatra the youngest Prime Minister in the history of Thailand. The day that Pathongthorn Shinawatra became the Prime Minister was also the day Thaksin Shinawatra, her father, was pardoned by the King of Thailand for his corruption charges, and Thaksin became an influential political consultant for his own daughter. So, as of this year, the Shinawatra family holds power over the political government of Thailand, but they are struggling with the military and with other factions for power. Cambodia also has a royal family, but they do not hold as much political power as the Thai royal family. Mostly, Cambodia's royal family are ceremonial figureheads. The real political powerful family in Cambodia is the Hun family. And unlike the Shinawatra family in Thailand, the Hun family controls not just the state, but also the military of Cambodia. So the power over Cambodia is fully consolidated. How did Hun Sen come to be so powerful? Well, it all started with this man, Hun Sen, the patriarch of the Hun family. Hun Sen started his career by joining the Khmer Rouge under Pol Pot. He became a battalion leader in the 1970s. In 1977, he and 4 other military officers deserted from the Khmer Rouge army and crossed the border to Vietnam. Hun Sen and his fellow deserters asked for Vietnam to help to end the genocidal regime that they were once fighting for. Long story short, after the Khmer Rouge regime was ousted in the 1980s, Hun Sen came out on top as Prime Minister of Cambodia. From 1985 to 1998, due to many political infights between different factions and parties, Cambodia had a policy of having 2 prime ministers, and Hun Sen was always one of them. In 1997, Hun Sen led a coup d'etat to oust his opponent, and in the election in 1998, Hun Sen became the solitary Prime Minister of Cambodia. It's important to understand that Hun Sen is not a communist or socialist. He is a political opportunist who has always worked to build his own personal political power. His party, the Cambodia People's Party, describes itself as liberal democratic and does not follow any sort of Marxist or socialist doctrine whatsoever. The Hun family is a capitalist family owning over 100 companies in more than 20 fields in Cambodia. It is suspected that he is a billionaire, but that can't be proven with publicly available information. Ever since Hun Sen was elected as the sole Prime Minister in 1998, the Hun family has had uninterrupted power over Cambodia ever since. In 2018, a few weeks before the Cambodian National Congress election, Hun Sen promoted his firstborn son, Hun Manet, to become a general of Cambodia's Royal Army. Hun Manet graduated from West Point University in the USA, and he became the great general of Cambodia when he was only 41. 5 years after this promotion was given to him by his own father, Hun Manet was assigned to be the next Prime Minister of Cambodia by the king. Hun Manet took over his own father's position without having any election in 2023. Besides Hun Manet, Hun Sen also has 2 other sons, and they both hold very important positions in the political system of Cambodia. Hun Manet, the second son, is now the chief of the Defense Ministry's Intelligence Department. Hun Mani, the last-born son, was just assigned to be the Deputy Prime Minister of Cambodia in 2024. Now, let's talk about the relationship between Thailand's ruling Shinawatra family and Cambodia's ruling Hun family. The Huns and the Shinawatras have been good friends with each other since the late 90s. According to the Hun Sen side of the story, the Hun family helped support Thaksin Shinawatra when he was exiled from Thailand. And Thaksin even became a consultant for Hun Sen. So, what led to the falling out between the Huns and the Shinawatras? Well, it all comes back to the Preah Vihear. Remember? The temple complex which friends intentionally turned into a huge point of conflict over a century ago? About 2 months ago, in late May, soldiers patrolling the disputed area in the border of Thailand and Cambodia got into a gunfight. The shooting ended with 1 casualty on the Cambodian side. Both sides claim that the other side started the shooting, and there's no strong evidence to support either claim, so at this point, it seems impossible to know who shot first. Cambodia's leader Hun Sen reported this to the International Court of Justice, but Thailand refused to recognize the jurisdiction of this court. So even if the ICJ does take this case, Thailand would not accept the judgment. Anyway, over the past 2 months, from June to July, the leaders of Thailand and Cambodia have continuously accused each other of starting the conflict. The ruling families of both countries have been stoking nationalist flames and trying to build up justification to go to war. In June, Hun Sen shut down the border between Cambodia and Thailand and stopped importing fruits and airing television shows from Thailand. Hun Sen also threatened to release many dirty secrets of the Shinawatra family relating to the time when Thaksin was under the protection of the Hun family in Cambodia. Hun Sen even published a private phone call which took place between him and Paetongtarn Shinawatra, the current Prime Minister of Thailand. In this phone call, Paetongtarn Shinawatra called Hun Sen uncle, trying to calm the situation down, and she also said some things which might be construed as bad-mouthing other Thai politicians. Unfortunately for her, the leaked audio of this phone call caused a major political outburst in Thailand because many people accuse her of making the image of Thailand weak when dealing with Cambodia. In addition, Hun Sen himself called for Paetongtarn to be tried for treason in Thailand, which could even lead to the death sentence. The crisis that followed was a major political crisis for Thailand. The alliance which the Shinawatra family had with other parties of Thailand collapsed, and Paetongtarn Shinawatra is now suspended from her position. Thailand's leaders also claim that they already reported Hun Sen to the International Criminal Court, not to be confused with the International Court of Justice, which they don't recognize, and are also reporting him to the Interpol for the crime of intervention in Thailand's internal politics and calling for a coup d'etat against political leaders of Thailand. Notice that both Thailand and Cambodia have now tried to accuse each other of starting the war and are claiming to seek diplomatic resolution through different international courts now. Both sides are also claiming that the other shot first. Also, on July 26, Laos got hit by 10 explosive munitions, and Thailand and Cambodia are accusing each other of being responsible for this seemingly unintentional strike in Lao territory. Fortunately, nobody was injured in the attack that hit Laos, but it is clear from all of this that both Cambodia and Thailand are trying to leverage the ongoing armed conflict to seek international sympathy, outrage, and support. These tensions have been escalating for the past several weeks. And in the last 2 weeks of July, yet another crisis occurred. This time, 5 Thai soldiers were injured by landmines allegedly placed by Cambodia in the disputed territory of the Thailand-Cambodian border. Immediately, on July 23rd, Thailand expelled Cambodia's ambassador and recalled their Thai ambassador and all the staffs in Cambodia back home. As a retaliation, on the same day, Cambodia also expelled the Thai ambassador and called the ambassador in Thailand back home. Less than 24 hours later, more gunfire was exchanged between Thai and Cambodian soldiers on the border. This military encounter escalated severely on July 24th when Cambodia shot a bunch of BM-21 rockets at Thailand. One rocket hit a grocery store and another hit a military hospital. Immediately, Thailand sent 6 F-16 fighter jets and drones to bomb many military bases of Cambodia alongside the border. 4,000 Cambodians and 100,000 Thais have been evacuated from the border. Just hours before I started recording this, Thailand's acting Prime Minister warned that this conflict could lead to war. And as of right now, that's where things stand. If any other developments happen while I'm editing, I will add a brief update here. As of right now, the total death toll of this conflict is 32, including civilians and soldiers on both sides, making this conflict the deadliest in the history of this border dispute. The fighting has been ongoing right until this moment. The United Nations and even the USA have also called for peace between Thailand and Cambodia, along with Vietnam, China, and many other nations. But both sides have only paid lip service to peace so far. And there you have it, a very brief but hopefully helpful history between Thailand and Cambodia. I am very sure that there is more to this story than we can see right now. The bourgeois dictatorships in Thailand and Cambodia are not democratic governments, and they do not represent the working class of either country. Both of these bourgeois dictatorships have worked hard for decades to stoke toxic nationalism and xenophobic hatred of each other's countries among the masses. And this has led to violence in both countries against foreign civilians. Both Cambodia and Thailand have had terrible and worsening economies for many years now. And it could be that this is an effort to distract citizens from worsening material conditions. The powerful families who rule both countries might be using the conflict to solidify their power, or perhaps there is a belief that war will stimulate the economy and win over profits for the capitalist ruling families of Cambodia and Thailand. We must also remember that Thailand's military is a powerful force which has been struggling against the Sino-Wacha powers for many years now. As for Cambodia, Hun Sen is closely associated with the military. War has often been used to increase the prestige and authority of the military. So it is possible that either of these factions, or both of them, want war to build up their own base of power by stoking militarism and nationalism with the population. This is sometimes called the wag the dog strategy, which is often used to prop up failing states and to stave off discontent among the working class. I can really only speculate with the limited information I have. And really, it doesn't matter what's happening behind the scenes. It is plain to see that this conflict is completely unnecessary and will do absolutely nothing to benefit the workers of Southeast Asia. Looking at things from a Vietnamese perspective, I can't support either side in this conflict because it seems entirely unnecessary and it will only hurt the working class of both Cambodia and Thailand. This is a war that was forced on both nations by the capitalist ruling class political dynasties of both countries. It's exactly the sort of war which Vladimir Lenin would have described as a reactionary war, a war which was caused entirely by the bourgeois ruling class of the countries going to war. As Lenin wrote in 1915, during a reactionary war, a revolutionary class cannot but design the defeat of its own government. This is axiomatic and disputed only by conscious partisans or helpless satellites of the social chauvinists. We in Vietnam are deeply concerned with this situation. We are terrified and unsure about the future. On July 24th, the day that the ongoing armed conflict broke out, Vietnam's Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson Phạm Thu Hằng had this to say. Vietnam is deeply concerned with the tensions on the border between Thailand and Cambodia. We call for these two countries to calm down, to avoid using weapons and violence, and to find solutions through peaceful means. I really hope that peace will come soon. If it does not, then it is almost certain that the Western press will start pressuring you to pick one side over the other in this conflict. Don't fall for it. Do not support a reactionary war. The only probable outcome for this war is peaceful diplomatic negotiation. If you are in Thailand or Cambodia right now, then know that we in Vietnam are very concerned for you, our neighbors and siblings of Southeast Asia. Please struggle against this war and know that Vietnam stands behind you in seeking peace. I will try to keep you up to date as things develop, so subscribe to stay informed. Thank you for watching.